Welcome back, everybody. This is John Franklin, and I am still continuing my 31 all-time favorite scary movies. I am at number 20 right now. So it is my number 20th all-time favorite scary movie, Creepshow, back in 1982. The first one has 5 different stories. That's why I think this one's going to take a little longer. So the very first one starts off with the title of it's called Happy Father's Day. Pretty much this story is pretty much about a guy who comes back from the grave, and he's been dead a long time, to get his Father's Day birthday cake. That is really what the story is about. The segment starts off with a family of an aunt, and you have a brother and sister and the niece's boyfriend there. The aunt, the niece and nephew are telling the boyfriend about Sylvia's aunt, who ended up pretty much killing her father because he just kept screaming and screaming for his birthday cake, and she was trying to make it, and she was being distracted just by him screaming. So eventually she finally kills him with an ashtray, and he pretty much dies. So she pretty much comes back every Father's Day. So she pretty much killed him on Father's Day, every Father's Day, to go to his grave, Aunt Sylvia's property. He finally decides to, say, you know what, enough is enough, even if I'm dead. Comes out of the grave, his daughter. Lonesome Death of Jordy Viral. This is the one with Stephen King. Now, the biggest one, I automatically want to say, the biggest reason why I hated this segment, and it was a short one too, because it was pretty much a one-man show. I mean, it was pretty much Stephen King. There were a couple other, actors in the film, but not many. There was a doctor, there was a college professor, and then Jordy's father, kind of shows up at one point too. Jordy keeps, he actually, at the very beginning, he's a farmer, and a meteor shower comes down. As soon as he touches it, his life pretty much goes to hell. Splashes a bucket of water on the meteor to cool it down. It splits, and there's like liquid inside. So he pretty much, dumps the liquid out. And what happens is the liquid pretty much turned everything around his area, his house and all that, into grass. The reason why I didn't like this was, first off, Stephen King is he's no actor. Move on to the next one, which is called Something to Tie You Over. So this is where we have a character named Richard, played by the late great Leslie Nielsen, and he actually, at the very beginning of this segment here, there's a door, Richard's knocking at the door, and you hear his voice. All of a sudden he's like, Harry, Harry. And Harry starts walking up, played by Ted Danson. Richard pretty much tricks Harry, takes him to his little house and all that, and he pretty much tricks Harry of saying, get in the hole or I'll shoot you. At first Harry refuses, but then eventually he goes in and he buries himself here, pretty much burying himself alive. What happens is, the whole reason behind this one is that Richard kidnapped Harry's girlfriend slash fiance, I believe, and pretty much buried her. And the tide's coming in and the water's like splashing all over her, and she pretty much, there's a chance she's going to drown, just like Harry would have a chance. Well, this was a very creepy one. Okay, so now moving on to one called The Crate. This was another one I did not like because it was way too long. The whole thing with this one, the whole thing with The Crate means that there's actually a monster that we see very little throughout this segment. This was like a mutated gorilla, it seemed like. Huge teeth, one bite, it seemed like your head could have been chopped off, kind of thing. Well, what happens is the first person who sees it is a janitor who actually was just flipping a coin, and of course he misses the coin and it rolls under steps that he has to go retrieve his quarter. Well, at first he does not want to go in. Kind of has his flashlight, sees this crate and all that, so then all of a sudden he ends up calling, Dexter, who's a professor, along with Henry is another one who's a professor at the school. Well, he calls Dexter, tells him what's going on, and Dexter's like, oh, it's probably old magazines and blah, blah, blah. And the janitor says, well, this is like from 1836. Dexter starts getting a little intrigued with this, so he leaves the party that he was actually at with Henry and Henry's wife, Wilma, Dexter goes to the school, and him and the janitor pull out this crate, go into a classroom, a scientist classroom. It could have even been Dexter's, I don't know for sure. They finally eventually open up the crate. Well, what happens is the janitor ends up being very stupid. So the janitor's like, oh my god, I see something shiny in there, and he puts his hand, while Dexter tries to stop him, the monster's eating this guy's hand. Jeez. You know, definitely 101 of horror movies, do not do something like that. Dexter ends up going to Henry's house and tries to explain what's going on. Well, Henry seems like he does kind of believe his story. So the thing was, instead of going to the school and helping him out, he drugs his friend, and he ends up going to the school himself in the segment. My bad. So what happens is Henry ends up cleaning up, cleaning up the bodies and the blood and all this stuff, and he writes a note to his wife Wilma that something's going on. Now he hates his wife Wilma. He writes a note to Wilma, pretty much huge lie. Well, maybe not completely lie, but sure a little bit of a lie on that. And he pretty much tells Wilma, can you please come to the school, come to the university, help me out here a little bit. So I know I've been going on for a while, but guys, I got one more. Please bear with me on this one, and I will be done. Promise. So it's called, the last one is called They're Creeping Up on You. And what happens is, it's pretty much, this whole story is pretty much about an old man, probably like in his 70s or anything, late 60s, early 70s, who pretty much has to battle cockroaches for about 15-20 minutes of the segment. So what happens is, and of course, it's almost like the Stephen King one, pretty much a one-man show on this one too. But yet, I really did like this one, because so many people out there, not just cockroaches, but spiders, tarantulas, which is kind of the same thing. Spiders, I already said spiders. Snakes, I meant to say. Snakes was in my head, but spiders repeated. I came out of my mouth for whatever reason on that one. But I really like this one because the old man just constantly swearing and going off and all this, and it was just like, he'd be talking to people on the phone, so you would hear their voices. The only other actor I really remember them ever showing was, I guess he was a security guard, I believe he was. He was a black guy who, they didn't really show his face very well, but they would show his mouth. It seemed like show his mouth, the side, like his cheek or anything. So they would show a little bit of him, but I don't remember them ever really technically ever showing his his face. But he said about like, oh, I'll try to help you out with the bug problem. I can call someone, blah blah blah. They could probably be here by 11:30. And the old man, his name is Upson Pratt. Upson Pratt. And the thing is, just like saying actor Chris Pratt, Pratt. So Upson Pratt is, he's like, yeah, fine, 11:30 will be good and all that, and thank you so much and all that. So all of a sudden, of course, the cockroach problem gets worse and worse and worse. It actually, it ends up in his cereal, ends up in his mixer. It's just crazy. And the thing was, it's just, just a one man, like I said, a one man trying to go after all these cockroaches pretty much will make you go crazy, Now, I will not say who wins, and if you've seen this, and if you haven't seen it, but maybe you've heard of it, maybe you have an idea who wins and who doesn't, but I will not give that away. So, and I have to say that this was like my all-time favorite. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, before these stories all not intertwine, but all these stories get together, we have something at the beginning and something at the end. So before the story and after the story, which is called a prologue, which is pretty much kind of starts everything off. Tom Atkins was actually in this. This is actually my second film with him. His other one was Halloween 3 a while back, and now we're doing, another one. He has a small part in this one. Now, also for directing wise, this is also my second time reviewing a film which was directed by George A. Romero, who also directed Night of the Living Dead, which I gotta be honest, between the two, yes, I really did enjoy this one a lot more fun, a lot more with the segments and all that. I look at it this way. I look at it that three out of 5 of them I really like. Like I said, the Stephen King one could have been a lot better. And the crate, like I said, there were some good things about it, so I really shouldn't say. I mean, that was hypothetical in case they did take it away, but it's been filmed for many, many years. They're not going to edit this film after all those years anyways and then put it back out on DVD. But the thing was, you know, maybe say even 3.5 out of 5, because maybe about half the segment of the crate I did like. So anyways, I did say this was going to be a long one. I do apologize. So thank you for anybody who actually stayed with me this entire time. So I apologize about that. So remember, my number 20th was Creepshow. So thank you guys so much for for listening to this one, and thank you for anybody who actually has gone through the entire video here. So thank you guys. Please out there subscribe, please like, please comment. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys tomorrow for my number 19th film. Thank you guys so much. Goodbye.